Hi everyone, the Mature Simmer here. So, as you can see, we've got fun with lag. Several of us jumped on the server literally at the same time. So, Wild Moose, you can see him moving across the way. Firefighter also has appeared. He's the one down in the south corner, opposite corner like me. And again, this is pretty typical of autumn because there's work to be done and pretty much everybody's harvesting. So the hemp is in good shape. I checked it this morning. I just was unable to get in and actually do the work until now. So that is the plan, and that is what I'm going to be doing in the main for this episode. The only other potential work is liming the other 3 fields, which I may do, but that will take me refilling some lime. So just see how long the rest of this takes to see what my motivation is. But yeah, it looks like this has become hay on the fields here, so I'm sure that Swede's gonna start collecting those up. But yeah, this is the super fast travel to the fields, so I'll see you when I get there. Alright, so here I am over on 85, and I decided I'm going to go ahead and start here because then if I need to collect bales, I'll be able to get to the bale store faster. Well, right now I don't know that I could get there at all. I mean, I suppose I could try to drive around this edge and arrive at the bale store from the bottom tip there, but would prefer not to do that if I can avoid that, because just the danger of damaging crops, or the likelihood of the likelihood of crop damage is pretty high. So yeah, the biggest curiosity will honestly be, do I get more off this field as far as the number of bales than I did with cotton, or am I going to be able to sell it for more per liter than I did with cotton? Because otherwise, if it's not substantially higher, this is going to be a challenge to try to turn a profit on with what I put into these fields. So we'll see how long. Again, I think this harvest is going to be relatively lengthy. Just once again, are working with a small. It travels at the same 6 miles an hour that a harvester does, but instead of being 18 meters or whatever, we're 6. So, you know, it's at least 3 times as long to cover the same space or same acreage. But you can see that in the, just hours of utilization, 29.7 hours that this harvester's been used, and that's just been over I've had 2 harvests with it for the most part. So you can tell there's just a lot of time put in there. So I will be working at this for a bit. And at this point, yeah, I mean, I could pull up. It's just I want to give myself enough that I could at least circle around, because if you recall how you empty bales, you just really need to pull up. It's not as if I have to back into it. I just have to drive by the location. But the more maneuvering space I can give myself, the better it'll be. I believe the bale sizes are the same. They certainly were with tobacco, where there's still 20,000 liters. So I don't think the size of the bales change, which would make sense for just how things operate. It's also a strange animation of the harvest, because it almost looks like it's folding it over or something. I guess I'll go ahead and go down the GPS line here. It's as good as any. So from where we started, we've got 44 rows to harvest. So once I start going that way, it'll be a lot of work there. So I think I'm going to run 2 headlands once again, just to give myself a broader path if I want to start collecting these, because especially if I get to the point where I'm going to stop being able to play, I want to not leave bales I want to not leave bales all over the fields. So it's getting a little cooler for sure. Still trying to figure out what my winter work, aside from the one thing I have planned, will be. Don't know why it took 2 presses to reverse, but it did. So at this point, I don't know that I would say I'm getting a lot more crop off the field, but I'm not sure that I have done enough with cotton or anything to know, other than just the amount of physical bales I'll have, because I think this field, when I did the 2 fields in cotton that one time, I believe I only had 4 or 5 bales here, or maybe it was 4 bales on 86, because then I think I had done cotton and tobacco. I don't know that I kept track of the bales when I had cotton planted everywhere. Right, so at this point, I think, yeah, I'm just gonna continue on. There's not much to say. I think you guys are familiar with the process, and the process is underway, so I will see you in a bit. It's been a pretty long day, and I'm still not done, so I think I'm going to collect the bales that I have right now, and likely I'll have to finish the rest tomorrow. I've been basically spending most of the day on the game, which was not my plan. It's New Year's Eve, and it probably would be good to spend some time with the family rather than continue to pull hemp off my fields. So, And as it is, I think collecting these bales is going to take a while anyway. But I've got 85, 86, and 29 done. Definitely a higher yield, which I would have been amazed if it was not. Oh, I'm going to have to clear this one out. From the single bale that I had loaded with cotton before. I just hadn't purged it. So there we go. Resets the trailer. And we'll start collecting these and get them stored up. But yeah, I would have been really surprised if there wasn't a higher yield than what we had with cotton. But I haven't really been completely paying attention. I'm going to look at that later. I'll certainly report on it when I get the footage I need to finish the rest of this up, which really will just be some more shots at the end, or maybe just the wrap up at the end. But definitely right now feeling I'm gonna just leave any other work for next year on the farm. I've had a pretty busy year here, and I'm just not feeling it, honestly, to sit here and lime 3 more fields, for example. So again, I may do that at some other time, but right now definitely not high on my list of things to do. So, but I think I've got 8 to 10 bales at least on each field, so you know, we're gonna have a good harvest on this overall, and that will hopefully turn into it will turn into a sale for this year, because even if I get, you know, 30 or 40 bales, that's certainly enough. And you know, I think I'll go ahead and sell them off at the end of the season, but we'll take a look, see what I end up with here. Come on. Bales are always such a challenge. You kind of have to be right on with them. So now I'm going to over rotate, which is typical. I think I'm okay here. Let's see. There we go. So yeah, I'm just kind of collecting a couple of these up, but I'm going to then go off and go to 29 and just get those and kind of work my way closer. But you know, I've just like any other day when it's a long day like this, I've not been on here 100% of the time, but it's been a lot. Not gonna lie. So I'm done. I mean, I'm exhausted, and you know, I may do, depending on what the plans are for the evening, I may do something else on, but I'm thinking that'll be something I'm thinking of on FS22. I may finally give that a go, which is kind of what I'm gonna likely be focusing on the next couple days. And which is why I feel I've done enough. I mean, you're probably also looking for a change in what I'm putting out each day, to not just be nothing but Misty Hills work. You know, I'm sure those who do watch it, you know, love the farm and love what's going on, but everything in moderation, right? That's always kind of the best guidance. So, and that's kind of where I'm at. I'm definitely feeling a little burned out on Misty Hills right now, because this was a busy year, and you know, it's one thing if I'm planning on double cropping, but I haven't double cropped in a long time for exactly this reason. Is it's just a lot of time, and you know, makes you sour a bit on the farm in general. It just becomes too much work. You know, and as it is, this may still take me, you know, 30 minutes or an hour to collect these bales. I'm really not sure. As I've got stuff to chat, you know, I'll certainly stay on. Hopefully you'll listen to me a bit. But it does appear that it's going to be dry tomorrow. So that's partially why I'm not going to push it. And, you know, aside from the fact that I'd certainly like to see the wife and the kids and have a little bit of New Year's Eve fun before the end of the day. And I know we've got some of the kids have some folks coming over as well in well, at this point about an hour and a half. So I'm going to be like working on this up until the last moment as it is, which is kind of crazy. Because like I said, I plan to do a little bit today, and I just forget how long it takes to harvest with that cotton harvester. When you're doing these kind of crops, it's just, these are not small fields for that. I mean, this field is over, you know, both of these I think are over 30 acres, 29 and 30, and then the other two together are basically about the same size as one of these. So I've got, you know, basically about 90 acres of field here that I've planted in hemp that I'm working on. So it's not a trivial amount by any stretch. And as you can see, you know, the bales are hot and heavy. There's a lot of them. As I said, I wasn't really counting, but you know, there may even be close to, I don't think we have 15 on this field, but I think we do have well over 10 though, you know, 12, 13 for sure. Oh, come on. And yeah, when I just want to have it done, I just want to back up and let it pick up the bale. Because yeah, at this point we've already grabbed 6 off this field, 2 off the other, so we've already got 8. But yeah, if I recall, I think we're looking at about 300,000 on the 2 fields, 85, 86, and then last I had checked, and that was, I still had a good amount of this field, 29 to go. I think I was already at 220,000, so like I said, I'm sure I'm between 250 and 300 on that field by itself, so I'm going to have nearly 1 million acres in, or 1 million acres. That would be that'd be a farm. I'm going to have nearly 1 million liters of crop here, but you know, probably close to 800,000-900,000 is what it's looking like is going to happen. So I just don't know what the going rate is or what the current rate is, so we'll see. And I still haven't really done much on my oats other than look to see what the in-game price was, which was about 500 a liter, which isn't bad. You know, and that was several days ago, so it's likely dropped by now, I'm imagining. We've got 2 right here, 3 right here, so I'm sure there's several way in the back, so, but yeah, you can see there's 5 right there, so So we know we have at least 11 on this field, given that we've already picked up 6. So I just hope, come on. Oh, I totally missed that. Wow. Some of it's the perspective sometimes. Whoops. Turning the wrong way. Come on, why is it turning so sharply? I just need a nice gradual turn. That should do it. Come on, pick it up please. Thank you. You know, and the harvester does have, you know, a partial bale in it. Obviously I've got the other field, so there's no point in ejecting the unfinished bale, which, you know, obviously with this harvester you can do that versus a typical, you know, baler of straw. You can't do partial bales. But yeah, real time is a little bit ahead of the server time, so it's actually about 5:40. And I didn't start right in the morning today because, well, I think I mentioned that in the video. I had other stuff going on. I had to run some errands to get stuff for snacking later on today as we ring in the new year. But it's still been, as I said, a long day. I'm definitely in the 6 to 8 hour range. I don't normally keep track diligently on the time because it's kind of one of those, it takes as long as it takes. So, but I know some of you may be wondering what was involved in getting to where we did, and I think that's about where I'm at, is 6 to 8 hours of work to get these 3 fields pulled. I'm going to actually drive up to the north end. I know there's absolutely one hanging off the edge at least, so there's at least one up here, because when I went up this way and then did the 2 headlands at the end, I dropped a bale there. There you go. So I've got 2 that I can grab, assuming there's a third. So yeah, there's a lot of hemp here, which is good. I mean, that's what I wanted given the consumption of the supplies. But like anything, it's all a wondrous thing in theory, and then after you've spent 8 hours in the field that you weren't necessarily planning on doing on New Year's Eve, you kind of just want it to be over. So I'm not gonna lie, like I said, I've had enough, and it's a chore to even finish this up, but I don't want to leave these and then have to deal with it all tomorrow. And then, you know, just for server performance, it's a good idea to not leave these sitting on the server overnight when everything refreshes and so forth anyway. So I'm going to be a good farm manager and pick up after myself, and I'm also certainly curious. I mean, it'll be nice to just see how many bales this has netted so far once it's all said and done. So yeah, I'm hoping everybody's having a, you know, looking forward to the new year. I assume most people do. It's pretty rare where people are like, I want this year to go on forever, especially with having another year of COVID dominating our lives pretty much anywhere in the world, wherever you are. So, but hopefully everybody's looking forward to the change, and hopefully 2022 brings you what you're wishing for and gets us all back to whatever normal's going to look like, but hopefully with a lot less concern and people getting sick all the time and so forth. So we've continued to have folks we know in our periphery testing positive, so it's, you know, continuing to be front and center for us. So, but hopefully not everybody's having the same situation, but I at least have Farming Simulator to keep me busy when I'm home. Alright. Alright. That's how I want them all to go, but that's not what's been happening. So yeah, I know for certain, because I've already got a few other episodes that are up and ready to schedule to be published, so I know this one will be after the live stream on Sunday, so hopefully you've been able to see it, or if not, you've been able to catch the replay. I'm sure we are going to have a good time. Right now it's looking like there may actually be 2 farm managers that show up as well. So that'll be a good multiplayer experience that we'll be able to put out there for folks. Alright, can't believe I'm still on 29. So I think that was at least 12 already that's come off that field. Because I know in the cotton shed, we have 9 in there, and we're already sticking out past that, and I think filling up that back row as well, which wasn't the case with the cotton. Alright, so I think there's at least the one more here. Kind of head this way, make sure that something doesn't pop up there. Oop. Alright. So maybe it's this one and the one at the end. No, there's one more there. Whoops. Way too sharp. Yeah, it's one of those you kind of, the trailer, once you get it moving, you then have to basically stop the turn pretty quickly. Otherwise it jackknifes on you very, very fast. Alright, so, oh, there's one more. They're like special gifts. But these are gifts that make the farm money, so not a bad thing. I'm sure I'll be thrilled when it comes time to sell. But just like any worker, when you're sitting there, like, this is between me and quitting time, you're kind of like, alright, enough already. Because yeah, this field, I mean, again, I think it's only 22 acres, so it's not going to be quite as large, but it does extend south a bit, so compared to this one. So I think there's a good amount of bales there, and then, so yeah, we've got at least 2 more on 29, but definitely obviously getting to the tail end there, so looks like here maybe we only have 6 to 8 on this, on 85 here, so it's not too bad. head over and get the one we did see, and that will also let us kind of scout the remainder of the field. I don't want to come in too fast so that I blow by it or can't position myself. Oh, wow, there's another one. I'm getting better or I'm getting lucky. I'll let you decide. No, I didn't cut enough. I don't understand now. I'm trying to cut and it won't. Maybe it's because I'm on this hill. So it's just skewing the ability of the trailer to turn. Go through here. I'm just kind of going to take a little bit of a scenic route through the field just to make sure there isn't a bale hiding on us somewhere. Nope. So we've got the one at the end, and that is it. So it's likely 13 or 15 that we got off that field, but I don't think we had 17. That would be way more than I think we were tracking for. And some of it was, I did have about 8,000 liters in the harvester when I left 86 to head over to 29, so there was kind of a little bit of remnant from the fields here that made its way over there into one of the bales. But even so, that would only be, like I said, 8,000 liters or so. Yeah, so you can see Swedes got New Year in 11 minutes, so he's 6 hours ahead, so it'll be 6 p.m. here shortly. I won't be quite done yet, but hopefully not too much longer than that. I am so happy I did not choose to bale the oats this year, to have a straw swath, and because that would have been just brutal for the amount of work on the farm at that point if I had done that too. I think I might have to totally reposition now. That's not good. Oh, thank goodness. I love it. FS22, geometry, physics, whatever. I love when it does stuff like that. Like, I think if I get it lined up with the front of the bale, it'll grab it, and it did. Alright, the other thing is it might go a little quicker now too, simply because I have less driving time between these fields and the store. So instead of like 15 seconds to get to the road. Alright, grab this one. I saw one over there by the telephone pole. Alright, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for sure, because there's the one behind me by the telephone pole. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we're 8 to 10 on that field in total. And again, between these two fields, we should have basically 15, so. Yeah, I think I straightened myself out a bit too much, but I might be able to make it work. There we go. Alright. Okay, there's one up there. Just trying to kind of keep them in my mental map of where they are so that as I head back, I kind of have a bit of a plan. I think I'm going to go get the one by the telephone pole, by the edge of the field next, just to get that, since that's one of the farthest ones. And once again, we'll kind of be making our way back through the field then, and it'll be a little easier to get the lay of the land, or the lay of the bales, where they all are. Obviously, 2 of the bales in there are off this field already, so of those about 15 that we should have, 2 of them were placed before we went and finished 29. So let's see. Okay, so there's 2 right there. And that likely is what we have on this side of the field, because this one isn't as long as 29. Nope. Close. But no cigar. Oh, come on. I was worried I was going to turn too far, but it worked. Oh, goodness. There's 2 right there, huh? I will say, I'm seeing more bales than I thought. So, alright, so we'll come get those 2 next, I guess. Again, at this point, I'm just trying to grab the farthest ones and continue. So we've got 4 left at least here. That may be it. So, not too bad. So 4 more on that field. Maybe a 5th one is hiding somewhere. And then come over to 85 and grab, I think, 4 or 5 more here. And then I will take a break from Farming Simulator for a bit, probably. Well, from Misty Hills for sure, for the rest of the day, unless I just decide I won't do anything else. How do I want to do this? I think I'm gonna sneak in here. Normally they're not that close together, but I'm trying to remember what happened there. I did have something a little crazy going on when I was working the field. I think what happened was, if I remember, is the harvester ran away from me. You can see I ran into the field several times because I was doing some things, keeping myself entertained on my tablet with another game, and well, the harvester was going down the field, and clearly that meant I had a runaway harvester a few times, and I was, less diligent about it because there's nothing there to ruin. It will create more work for me later, in that I think and you can see up north I have some too that it went that way. I think because I went over, even though there weren't any crops planted to harvest, I think that kind of unlocks the weed scenario, and so I think I'm going to end up having weeds sprouting on those fields, which means I'm going to have to plow them at some point in my mayoral duties. So, just creating work for myself. Alright, so I haven't seen any others, so I think this is it. So we'll get these two, and then we've got what's left on 85. And so I will definitely finish the baling in this episode, so I'll combine whatever I get to finish up on 30 in this episode. I'm not going to split it off, but obviously it will be late autumn next time after I finish the bales that you see this. So and the other thing that'll be good is doing it this way, which is what I tend to try to do, is try to keep as much of the work as I can in daylight if I have the option where I'm not up against a day, and I have some flexibility in my schedule, because once again I know the videos have to be a lot more entertaining to watch when you can see more around the map, and you know that it's just more than a flashlight running around in the dark, you know, with a trailer attached to it, which is what you see at night most of the time. And so obviously, you know, my single player series, I can control that a lot more because, you know, we're able to sleep and other things and make sure all the footage is daytime. But obviously here, with real-time servers, we have to do what we can do when we can do it. I'm going to swing around on this one because I think if I try there and start backing up in the ditch, I'm just asking for a bigger problem. Gonna get the truck stuck or the trailer stuck. It's just not worth it. Not worth the headache. And again, more bales are popping up than I anticipated, so yes, I am going to do myself a favor and not become my own worst enemy by creating problems. Come on, there we go. Alright, so I think we've got at least 3 more. But yeah, this is a nice harvest, that's for sure. I'm not gonna lie, I'm at least excited that I'm not seeing something crazy like really low yield and all that supply consumption that we had, so I'm feeling better about our prospects of having a good result from this. Now, again, that doesn't automatically mean I'm going to say, oh, yeah, hemp is a great thing to do, because it did take longer to plant. It doesn't, you know, technically take much longer to harvest. I mean, you do have to stop more often and empty the bales, but and obviously you've got to pick up more bales. Oh, there's 2 left that I see, so we've got at least 2 more after this. Whoops, I don't have to go that far. Slow down, slow down. So, you know, there's definitely more time here on the back end as well, but it's the majority of it was certainly the seeding and the fertilizing. Because obviously I had to run and get more supplies. I'm constantly running the truck to fill up or running to the truck once it got too far in the growth stage where I couldn't drive in the field safely with the truck. I think, I'm not sure if there was one like in the direction I'm looking now. I'm a little confused. because I thought there was, and then this one in the corner showed up, so we may actually have one more on the field that is just outside of our range of view. I'm going to have to, again, I'll drive over that way as I leave and just make sure. But in this case, since I'm mid-harvest, I'm not going to pull this truck back or worry about pulling the truck back, because that little bit isn't going to save me a lot of time. And I'm really at the point where I just am ready to log off. So, let's see. Oh, I think that is it. Alright. So it was an optical illusion. Alright, so this is it. I'll leave the truck here, but we'll hop out. We'll see where we're actually at instead of estimating. But I'll leave the truck here, and then I'll pick that up later. But that's a good amount. 34 bales, 680,000 liters already. So yeah, I'd be surprised if we're not going to be over 900,000. That would be unexpected, because 30's a little smaller than 29, but not much. So I will stop here, and I'll see you in a bit. So here on the server, next morning, sync time up, moved it up a little bit in the hopes that I'd be able to get to this field here. Sadly, still not, and it actually got wetter than it was at 5 a.m. when I jumped in and did the time sync to get it to current times. So moved it up a couple hours, and it actually got worse instead of better. So I'm sure that's dew related, but it doesn't look like on the map that we have any real drying till afternoon, which is unfortunate. I was hoping to get to things this morning and get this finished, but no joy. So I will see you in a bit. And here we are. Rain. I'm pretty sure this is all we're going to get done then, because I think it's raining for the next 2 segments. A huge amount of rain, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. But I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to get any more off. I mean, it does have drying potential that's pretty good, but not real thrilled that this suddenly hit, because it actually wasn't supposed to start until 1800 when I got on right at about 1500, and so I've got that done in about an hour. The area didn't grow that we planted after midnight, so just as a lesson, that didn't work. So I've done what I can to max this out. I'm just really hopeful that it's going to be a quick shower and something will change, because again, the cloud came up, which is nice, as soon as the rain moved over. So I'm hoping in an hour it will be cloudy again and maybe will dry. So I'll check back in a bit and we'll go from there. So I'm not super thrilled. I'm back here just trying one more time to save this harvest, and it's not looking good. So early winter morning, it's not impossible, but this is looking a lot like the year I forgot to harvest, and obviously that was not the case this year. I just didn't have the time to harvest. So we're still at 25% moisture. There's no rain planned, but I just don't know how long it's going to take to potentially dry. And the one day, I think when it got to late afternoon, it started getting wet again. So it was like I got down the last time I tried this in winter to, I think, like 21 or 22%, and it was looking like it would go, and then suddenly it bumped up to 23% and never looked back. So, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to, want to be checking this the whole time. We're also going to be doing the live stream later at about 2 p.m. Eastern is when it's scheduled. So, it's possible that once I get done what I have to get done, because there are things, I'm going to cut a few trees that can only be done during winter. But it's going to be real tempting if suddenly I can harvest to say, well, maybe I'll wait on the trees, and ultimately that may be what happens. Because there's nothing that says we have to cut the trees this year. I was just liking to get that done, as it's been bugging me every time I work that field with a few trees. And so anyway, so I'm going to collect these bales up, and oh, there's one more here. Look at that. I thought I got them all, but obviously I missed one. So make sure I grab that at some point. So I will work on collecting what I have baled on 30, so that at least that is done, because what I don't want to create is trying to get those things off when there's snow on the ground, because that is not going to be pleasant and or possible. I think I'd get my truck stuck and create a bigger problem. So I'll be back in a bit. Alright, so it looks like I've still got one bale in process in the harvester, so we'll be at 43 if we are able to do nothing else, which, once again, I think, as much as I want to be positive about it, is the most likely outcome, because I just don't think it's going to drop down. Usually it doesn't even start drying till around noon. And at this point, the drying potential is just average. So I don't think it's dried at all since I got on at 6 a.m. I think it's been at 25% the whole time. I just don't remember what the reading was. I know I checked, but I don't remember, because I came on and obviously you see the wet plant, and you know that you don't need to do anything. So, but obviously I wanted to know if it was close, and I think, again, some of that is dew. So at this point, I'm taking this up as kind of my last step for the live stream. I was kind of waiting with the eternal hope that I'd get to harvest and I'd have more bales to remove and so forth, but I need to be real at this point, because I'm going to have to be off probably for a few hours this morning anyway. But yeah, we've got a good amount of hemp left on the field. Just wish I had a different outcome, because I really wanted the full benefit of it. I mean, I'll be able to get enough of an analysis off the other 3 fields that I pulled off to determine if that's something I want to do, or if I just literally am going to do cotton every time I grow that kind of crop. Or if even with all the problems with poppy, I just go back to that. Because this is now the 2nd time, and I got really close, I think the 3rd time, of having a problem too. So out of my 3 attempts to harvest something with that harvester, whether it be cotton, tobacco, or hemp, I've lost crop now 2 out of 3 times. And that was from never losing crop before that. And some of that just turns out to honestly be the fact that there's just so much to get done. And I've got alternatives, I guess. I can bring some contractors in during harvest time to try to do this stuff. But that will likely would mean multiple harvesters. You know what, I'm going to reposition this, because now that I look at that, that is backwards from what I wanted to do, but in the process of doing things this morning, I just did things in a different order. So anyway, that's all we have for this. If you haven't watched the live stream video, or didn't attend, because at this point, by the time this video is posted, the live stream will have happened, and obviously will be out on the site anyway. But yeah, you'll get the details of kind of the setup here, why I did what I did, what I'm looking to do in the live stream. So I'll talk to you next time.